Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Spade and Spoon Online. Today's episode is all about muffins. So we're going to start with a basic muffin recipe and we're going to do it two different ways. So a sweet version and a savoury version. And my grade sixes, you guys are going to have a go at creating a design brief where you're going to be creating your own designer muffin flavours. So first up, my first step is to preheat my oven. So I preheated it to 200 degrees. So check. Second thing is to prepare my flavouring ingredients. So I'm going for two versions. I'm going for a classic combination of raspberries and white chocolate. And I'm going to add in some cinnamon to that as well. So I've got 3 ingredients for that one. And for my savoury, I'm going to go for cheese and this rainbow chard or silver beet because I just love the colours and that's just what's available outside the kitchen today. So most things are already chopped pretty small. I just have to prepare my silver beet. So using my spider grip, just going to cut this, just going to shred it. So you can cut it whatever size you like. And it's really, the flavour combinations are absolutely endless. To this I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder. You could add some dried herbs like basil, oregano, rosemary. You could have corn and cheese and chicken. You could have pumpkin and feta scones. That would be delicious. Or like pizza flavors are really good too, like tomato, bacon and olives in a savory scone. Lots of people get caught up on that. Sorry, I said scones, I meant muffins. That muffins have to be sweet, but savory muffins are really great too. Good for some morning tea or afternoon tea. All right, so that's done. Next up, we just need to sift our dry ingredients. So I'm going to be making this in 2 batches today. So first one, let's start with sweet. So I'm going to add in 1 cup of self-raising flour. So it's important that you've got self-raising flour because you want your muffins to rise up. And I'm also going to add some sugar to this. So somewhere, here it is, hiding under here. I've got 1/3 cup of sugar. And because, oh, I got a little bit of silver beet in there, wrong one. And because I'm going to be adding in some spices, I want to add it in this stage too, in the dry ingredient stage, so it can sift through. Okay, so with any dried spices, less is more because they are quite strong. So we'll shake of cinnamon. I'd say about 1/4 teaspoon if you were going to do some precise measuring. I probably should be. All right, so sift that in. Good opportunity to get out any lumps or anything that shouldn't be in your flour and dry ingredients. Also helps to aerate it, so it makes it nice and fluffy. All right, put that to the side. I'll do my savoury ones next. So for this one, I'm not going to add sugar because these are savoury muffins. So instead I've added a pinch of salt just on top of my flour. So a good pinch of salt is going in there. And I'm going to add in some garlic powder. A few shakes. Don't know how strong that will be. I've never added garlic powder to muffins before, so I'm taking a risk today. All right, through any little lumps can go through. All right, there's a bit of salt there. All right, sifting done. Okay, next up, I'm going to prepare my liquid ingredients. So into a jug, I'm going to add in, so it's usually a combination of, you need some sort of liquid and it's usually milk and a sort of shortening. So you could either use melted butter or oil is probably traditionally used. So I'm going to add in, because I'm doubling my recipe, so it's 2/3 cup of milk. So if you don't have dairy, you could substitute this as well. 2/3 cup of milk. And then my 1/4 cup, I need 1/2 cup or 2/4, which is the half as well. So that's going into here. Because we are using a lot of oil, I wouldn't say that these muffins are particularly healthy. A good choice, these would be a sometimes afternoon tea treat. All right, and to this we need to crack an egg. So the recipe calls for, the original recipe was only to make 6 muffins and it's a 1/2 an egg, but we're going to do a double batch today so I can use the whole egg. But if you only needed 1/2 an egg, you would just whisk it into a bowl and get a spoon and try and separate it. Usually works out to be about 2.5 tablespoons is about 1/2 an egg. All right, so I'm going to give that a whisk. with a fork or a whisk. Just want to break that egg yolk up and make sure it's all mixed in with the white. Now at this stage, you can add in your flavour ingredients, everything else. So we have like our dry ingredients and then our wet ingredients. You could add them into this mix. But because I'm going to separate them, I'm going to add my flavouring ingredients into the bowl. Oh, egg yolk stuck in there. All right. So I've got to remember which one's sweet and which one's savoury. I think this is my savoury one here. So I'm going to add in half of my mix. Comes together, and then I'll stir through my cheese and spinach. Okay, it needs a little bit more, it's still a bit dry. It's a little bit firm, so I'll just add a little splash more. So you don't want it to be too dry, the mix, because otherwise your muffins will end up being dry as well. So it's really important that when you are baking that you're following the recipe correctly. Okay, I don't want to overwork these, so I'll add in my spinach and my cheese. Okay, and a quick mix together, and then they're ready to go into the muffin liners and into the oven. So these ones will be quite rustic. They might end up looking a little bit ugly actually, but they will be delicious, that I can assure you. Okay. All right, so that one's done. Next up, we've got our sweet. Same thing, I'll add in my liquid ingredients. Right, it's coming together nicely. So once I've got all the flour mixed through, make sure you get right to the bottom of the bowl because flour likes to hide at the bottom there. Then I'm going to add in my berries and chocolate. So other great sweet combinations, using up bananas. Banana choc chip is really classic. We've had apple and cinnamon muffins in the kitchen before. They're really nice too. Ones with like maple syrup. Because you're at home, you could use nuts if you wanted to add nuts to it. The more you stir your berries through, the more they're going to break up and change the colour of your muffin mix. We've had lots of purple ones and people have used blueberries before, so just pretty much stir it until it's combined. And that's the sort of texture you're looking for. Okay, we're going to spoon them into our muffin liners now. So for this, I like to use 2 spoons. Basically, heaped them out and then use my other spoon to scrape it into the muffin liners. And you want to fill them up about 3/4 full. I like to go around and fill up the 6 first, and then I top them up with any extra dough. If I show you the sort of, you're probably looking at about that sort of amount in each case. Okay, I'll do these and then I'll show you what they look like before they go into the oven. So I've been filling them all up and this is what they should look like. Okay, so nice and full there. See those? All right, so I'm going to bang this into the oven. I'm going to use my oven mitts, of course, to put them into the oven. And I'm going to check them. They're going to take about 15-20 minutes to cook. So I'm going to check them at about 12 minutes. And because I might need to give them a turnaround because everyone's oven's different. I'm going to put them in the middle shelf. And what I'm looking for to know when they're cooked is that they're going to, if I touch the top of them, they're going to bounce back. That's what I'm looking for. It kind of feels like this part of your hand here. If you touch the top and it springs back, that's when you know they're done. You can get a skewer and test them that way as well. That's another option, but I'll show you what they look like when they come out of the oven. All right, guys, so I've just gotten these out of the oven. They actually took about 25 minutes. I think because they've got a lot of ingredients in there, like the cheese and the fruit and stuff, it takes a little bit longer to cook through. So what I was talking about is when I push the top of them, let's see if I can bring it a little bit closer. So when I push the top, it bounces back. That sort of springiness tells me that they're cooked on the inside. And you're better off to have them a little bit underdone than to be overcooked because dry muffins just aren't nice. Like worst case, if you open it up and it's not cooked enough, you can always chuck it back in the oven. But if you overcook it, you can't save it. Oh, maybe you could save it with a little bit of like sauce or something, or ice cream. Savory ones might not be as nice with ice cream. So I'm going to open one up to show you what they look like on the inside. So this is, get this cheese and spinach one out. Okay, whew, it's hot. And just like that. Okay, so that's the cheese and spinach one. I should give it a try because I haven't made this one before. It's not bad. I still think I prefer sweet muffins, but everyone's different. Some people like sweet or savory more. All right, and then our raspberry and white chocolate ones. Oh yeah, that looks good. That's more my style. All right, so get creative with your flavour combinations. You could do a mix like I've done, like sweet and savoury, and see which ones you prefer. But there'll be more details about the design brief on the seesaw activity. But have fun, and I look forward to seeing your photos of what you make. Bye.